All right, and we're back with the one and only Mabel. How you doing? Thanks so much for making the time.
Thank you for making the time. I'm good. I'm excellent. I'm really good.
I love it. Yeah, we were chatting right before we started, but you got your dogs. We need an introduction to them, I think, to kick things off.
This is Tahini.
Mm,
He's not so good with the camera. This is Imani. She loves it. Like it's her world. We're just living in it.
love
She's
that.
like supermodel. We call her Imani Hadid. She's just like
Love it. You got the two different
she loves
sides,
it.
eh?
Yeah, exactly. I have like both sides of the spectrum, but no, they're hilarious. I don't really do anything without them. Like she's been on tour. She went on her first tour when she was 3 months old.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
they love
early.
it. They're about the life. Yeah.
Love that. It's got to be nice because I feel like tour is such a whirlwind. The like wake up, where am I right now in the world? It's got to be nice to have, a piece of home with you.
So nice. Like it brings some like routine into something that's like so hard to have any routine in, but because it's like the dogs have to walk and like they have to go to the toilet and like you get those like little moments and like even just the like okay they eat at this time and like things like that are like so comforting and then just like cozy on the tour bus as well to have like real life teddy bears.
So sweet. Everyone should do it. It seems like a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It's like they have to come. They love it. They love it.
I love that. Um, the first thing I wanted to ask is your IG bio says you're an alien who's trying out the human experience for a bit. What's the review? Like out of 10, how would you rate the human experience as a visitor, of course?
The human experience is tough. Um, but I would say this year I'm having a pretty good time. I'd say
Mm,
this year's like 8 out of 10.
huge.
Um, yeah, this year is like 24's been good to me so far. But no, I always like, I don't know, there's like certain things that like I always like, even from a young age, just like being quite awkward and like, when there's like unwritten like social cues and things that I felt like people just like understood that like I didn't really. And they were probably like the most painful when I was a teenager, when like you really care of what other people think about you and like and it started then because I always used to say to my parents, I was like, I swear, like I'm an alien, and like I'm just like here in human form for a minute. Um, but now I'd say I'm very comfortable with my like weirdness and just like being quite open about like, oh, I'm sorry, like I didn't get that, or like I feel really socially anxious. I don't want to go to the after party. I want to go home to my dogs, or like, just like stuff like that. I feel like has made the human experience more enjoyable.
Love that. You're customizing your human experience.
Exactly. I'm loving it. It's like it's becoming more like, it's becoming way more enjoyable. But that's also like the older you get, right? I think like I'm 28. I've been doing this since I was 18 and like the later you sort of get in your 20s, the more kind of comfortable you are with all your like quirks. I'm like, this is me.
Yeah.
Like,
Curled up on the
I
couch,
might
crew neck on. I love it.
cry. I'm like, this is me. There's only like so much that I'm gonna change. Like I'm gonna grow as a person, but like you kind of have to like take it or leave it at this point at 28. I'm like, I am who I am.
I hear that and I feel that in your music. Like the music that you're releasing right now, there's a level of confidence and there's a level of like clarity of who you are. And it seems like you have that so much on lock that you can just focus on channeling, everything that's inside. And you're making some really incredible art right now. I suspect that might be one of the reasons why 2024 feels so great for you. But tell me about it, like creatively and inspiration wise, where are you at right now? Because it feels good.
I'm glad that you feel that because that's how I feel in myself. Just like I'm sort of more confident just being like, no, I really like this. And I think when you're younger and in my field as well, or like I think in any field really, if there's lots of cooks in the kitchen, which
Hmm.
there usually um and you're quite young and you're impressionable and like you're a people pleaser, which lots of people I find actually that end up doing what I do are like usually it's because some, you crave some kind of validation. Like
Mm,
most people that I talk to, like usually it comes from some kind of experience of like wanting the validation. Like that's not why I do it, but like it definitely is embedded in there. I think like it's so easy to get lost then in like being this thing for other people. And like I always say, I actually think it's like that saying when people are like, oh, don't be nervous, just be yourself. And I'm like, it sounds easy, but it's actually really not. It's so much easier to be somebody else,
mm,
like to be anything other than yourself. Like I have found easier. Like it was a challenge for me like a couple of years ago when I started creating again to just be like, well, what do I like? What do I gravitate towards? Like not thinking about socials and trends and like what anybody thinks, like what's the music that like is gonna come from here that feels good. But like it takes a lot of like training to get to that point, but it definitely feels good. And inspiration wise, I'm like, your art, like art is life and life is art, and they kind of like grow together. And I gave myself space over the last couple of years to also just like live
mm.
like for love and go to theme parks and like go to the cinema. I went to Disneyland a couple months ago, like just doing fun stuff for the sake of it.
That's so important.
Long,
I can imagine
yeah,
you've been like a decade in the music industry. Like it, aside from you saying, "Hey, I need this space to be a person for a while," maybe no one else is going to say that or recognize how important it is, or at least as much as you can. It feels like
100%.
the music you're putting out comes from that place of clarity. I can only imagine that's because you took that time. What's the review on Disney? Are you
Oh,
are
on
you
Disney,
a believer?
I really enjoyed it, but like I grew up like obsessed with like Disney princesses and like everything. And I love rides.
Hmm,
So like for me, I was just like, this is so fun. Like, and like it's the kind of thing that my friends did when they were younger, but like I just never went. And so for me, it was like being a kid, like having the little ears on and like just like eating junk food for 3 days. It was so like it was so fun. And I came home so like uplifted because I just was like, it's actually all about having fun. Like that energy that like I have at Disneyland, like how you bring that into like everything that you do. And like for me, that's been such a change this year. It's like I'm so blessed to do what I do. So rather than being like nervous about it and stressed about it and like, oh, I might make a mistake or like, I'm just like, how can I like make the experience leading up to say like the show or the TV appearance? Like, how can we make that fun? And for me, it's been like having my family around. That's been like really key. Like my mom and my dad like travel with me everywhere now. It's hilarious.
that's gonna be
It's
so nice, but
so
also create some crazy experiences.
so chaotic. It's so chaotic. My entourage is like getting really crazy. But like it's one of those things as well, like rappers, yeah,
Hmm.
will turn up like 40 man deep. And I'm like, I'm going with that energy, except it's like it's my mom and my dad and my brother and my dogs. It's like slightly more wholesome, but like it's that vibe. It's like you want to make the backstage like fun. And like we were in Barcelona a few weeks ago, and I was like, well, let's make sure we like all go for a big dinner, like the whole team, and let's go to the beach, even though it's freezing, and like just like core memories and just like enjoying things whilst you're doing them. And like it's made me so much more inspired. Like it really doesn't feel like work at all, which I think like I can't like for a few years it did. It felt really tough. It felt like I was constantly on an uphill. Um, I think so much of that has to do with just like not letting not letting like my intuition lead the way.
Hmm. That sounds, it sounds like you're in a very sustainable space right now. Like it's clear it's bringing you joy and it feels like something that isn't going to like deplete you as fast as if you were just, doing it
I
another
mean, it
way.
makes me
That's
so
true,
happy.
Joseph.
Like it makes me so happy. And yeah, I feel like that's like reflecting in the music and just like with the climate now as well, like nobody can tell an artist anymore like this is the formula for like how we're going to make you a global star. Even like when I started out 10 years ago, that was still a thing. It was still like, you know, you do these steps and then you can like, we can pretty much guarantee if you do the work that like you'll be a star. And that doesn't exist now, which like is terrifying but also so liberating. Like anyone can be successful, anyone can have a hit. There's no like, nobody can listen to a song now and be like, yeah, this isn't global.
Mm,
Like it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist anymore. So like you might as well just have fun with it.
that's so true. I think we should get into some of the music that you're putting out right now. Look at My Body with Shy Girl slaps. It hits so hard. I love it as a song. And then Under the Hood, when I listen and I start to think about like the things that you're saying and the way that you're presenting it, there's a lot of meaning and it feels like you're kind of reclaiming attention in a really exciting and meaningful way. I wanted to ask how that song came together and what it means to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you said. Like reclaiming is the word that I use a lot in regards to that song. Like I feel like it was very much reclaiming like my body, reclaiming even my like my mental space as well, like in regards to my career. And I think like as a woman, so much of like my value has been placed in my physical appearance. And like when I really think about like I have placed so much value in it as well. But when I think about it, I'm like, this is literally the least interesting thing about me. Like I'm like, I'm smart, I'm funny, I have a great family, like I write songs, I can play piano. Like there's so many things, so many more things that are so much more interesting than that. And I think for a long time, for me, it was like, you know, gaining weight, losing weight, like reading those comments, getting like really obsessed with these people who literally like just sit at home and like who are literally like, you're not paying my bills. Like,
It's pretty
it's
insane.
crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah.
And then like stepping out and just like going for dinner with friends and like it'll be always like, oh, you know, she puts on a busty display. Or like, I'm like, bro, I was just wearing a tank top and like going for dinner with my friends. But like what that does to you as like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, like how you don't become obsessed with it when everybody else is obsessing with it. Um, I don't know how you do that, but I just was like in a place when we wrote the song of just I was in Sweden and I got some kind of comment, something that was like just really rude. And I was just like, I'm so sick of this like being the thing that people want to talk about. But
Mm.
like there's always gonna be people that are gonna talk about it. And people that say you're not sexy enough or that will slut shame you when you are sexy and like so I was like I literally just want to like flip that whole concept on its head and do all the things that like people the way that I feel like I've been perceived but reclaim it and own it and do it on my terms. And it was so liberating. And when I finished writing the song I was like I really want to work on this with somebody who like I really like and who is gonna like be sensitive with this, like have fun with me, but also like be sensitive on this journey with me. Like they need to be a friend. And so it just made sense for it to be Shy Girl. And she literally came to the studio like a week later. And it was really special as well in the studio to just be like two women taking control and yeah, reclaiming the narrative, I guess.
I also love the music video. There's so many interesting Easter eggs. Do you have a favorite scene or moment in the music video?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. So yeah, we did 27 looks in 2 days because of all the
That's
like magazine
mental.
because of all the magazine covers. I really like the still life when I'm sitting in the big room. We shot it in Barcelona, and like that for me, it was something that I wanted to do, but I was obviously like really terrified to do it. But like as soon as I sat down, I was like, no, this is so sick. And then there's a few of the covers that just have like some hilarious blurbs, like, and we spent ages, like me and my creative director and David Wilson, who directed the video, just like writing up these like really inappropriate magazine blurbs that like were so funny, and just so many funny outfits, like because they were supposed to be like gentlemen's magazines. Like my stylist went to this like costume shop in East London, and like we were taking pictures like in the fitting, we were just dying of laughter. We were like Sailor Girl and like Policewoman, and yeah, so like the little Oppenheimer nod, shout out. Yeah, so many things that I love about that video.
Yeah, there's so much replayability. And I think that's kind of almost like a something that's kind of lost in a lot of music videos lately is the ability to replay and to dive into them again. Yeah, every time I run it back, I see something new.
Yeah, I think like for me anyway, like I grew up, you know, watching music videos on TV and just like when they were on a loop and just like waiting for my favorite ones to come back, and like remember seeing like Crazy in Love for the first time and seeing like Slave for You
Mm,
and Love Don't Cost a Thing. Like videos that are just like a music video. Like they were
mm.
like movies. I mean, granted, there was a lot more money in the music business then.
Yeah, yeah.
But like that is what I wanted to do. I'm like, even if I can make one music video, like for the next 2 years, like I'm gonna do it with my chest. And it was so fun. Like we laughed so much. That's it as well. It's like we're not saving lives. Like let's have a little bit like a sense of humor. And like the trolls about this video, honestly, they just proved the point. Like it was hilarious.
Mm.
Like
Just people the
it was
point going right over their head.
over their head, like literally
Same.
just proving the point of the song and the video. And like, yeah, I may have replied to a few comments. It was, but we had fun with it. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can tell. And yeah, it really feels like you're carrying on that legacy of just really meaningful music videos. And I can feel the care that went into it. It's really exciting as a viewer. There's a line
Thank
at the end of the music video that it kind of leaves you with: the apple was an awakening. What's that mean?
I think like I guess it goes back to the apple in the Garden of Eden, right? And
Mm,
the woman taking a bite and damning, you know, humankind for all eternity. Um, and I guess for me, it was like posing the question of like, is that how you see me? Like, you know, like I grew up quite young. I definitely know people that are like, oh, you know, my kids can't watch her. And like, but it's kind of the like the fear of all of that past on the other side
mm,
of like what people think about you, and like all that fear of people's opinions and making mistakes that are going to be online forever, and people slut shaming you and feeling, you know, bad about yourself is actually like liberation in reclaiming your power, which I think is usually like historically like what people fear the most is like when people come into themselves. It's
mm.
like our society is kind of surrounded around like, you know, control in a sense, right? That got really deep and like weird, but it's true.
I'm following. Yeah.
And when you start thinking for yourself is usually when people when there's something for people to be afraid of. And I'm there now. I'm on the other side of that, and I feel awake.
Yeah, I can sense it. I can feel it. And the tone of this song, the music video gets me so excited for whatever you have coming up next. Um, yeah, what's inspiring you right now? Like this week, is it something you're watching, something you're listening to, something you're thinking about? Where's the inspiration coming from?
It's always like it's interesting when I'm like creating, which I still am. Like I don't listen to a lot of music. I did actually listen to Charlie XCX's album though when it came out on Friday,
Insane.
and wow, like insane. And we're in very different genres. I love the album like musically, but the most inspiring thing for me, I think, is seeing somebody step into their power, right?
Mhm.
And she's been doing this for a long time and feels like now she's 100% herself and she's not afraid of what people are saying and she's having fun.
Mm.
And I think, particularly as a woman as well, like there's all these stereotypes about like our age and what we can and can't do. And she is literally proving that like you only get better the more like grown and more confident you become in yourself, like the better music we're going to make. And like for me to see that has just been like beyond inspiring, and like watching her shows, and I'm just like, yeah, it gives me hope.
It it's got to be, and I wonder if you ever think about this, but with artists like you, like Charlie XCX in the world, saying things like this and making music to this effect, it's got to be a much better space as like a young girl growing up now, having artists to look up to who are making music and speaking in a way that, at least to my knowledge, like it wasn't really the case even a decade ago. It's got to be pretty special to think that you're contributing, culturally towards. Yeah, there's a change. I can feel it, and I know I'm speaking as
I
a,
can,
as a man, but it's exciting.
I can feel it too. It feels like something definitely happened, which like, say what you want about like music post COVID and online sort of taking over. But I'm like, at least it's not just like guys in a boardroom deciding what we do anymore. I think like people are craving authenticity. Like
Mm.
they want to know about you. Like they want to know about your story and your pain, and like, and I think the people now that dare to do that and figure out who they are the people that are going to win, and I think that's how it should be.
I think there's also like a bullshit detector that Gen Z is so
Yeah.
with, like you there's a craving for authenticity and there's no tolerance of something that feels like it's packaged up and given it to you. Like it's people only want to hear from an actual person.
So true. So true.
It's
Yeah,
really
my nephews are like 19 and 20, and they're always like, yeah, this person isn't posting their own stuff. Like, just like, I'm like, wow, like, you already know, you're really like tapped into that frequency of, yeah, bullshit detector.
mm, that's rad. Yeah, I feel like you passed the bullshit test with flying colors.
Thank you so much. I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, for anyone who's listening right now, you have a pretty vast discography. Where's the best spot for someone who might just be discovering your music right now today? Where's the best spot to start listening, and what's the best setting to listen to the music in?
Oh God, that's so hard. I mean, to start, I would say like I think actually there's some really beautiful stuff at the beginning of my career, like Finders Keepers, like my first few sort of Afro swing records, if you want to know, like, yeah, like where I started,
Mm.
because I actually like I've taken a lot of inspiration from that person, like making music now, because it was like I was uninhibited in a way, like when you're a kid and you don't really like there's not really like right or wrong like that. I was just doing stuff. So yeah, I always say to people like finders keepers. And then now I think I'm like core me and the most me I've ever been. So I would say like, yeah, vitamins, look at my body. There's like I wouldn't say I'm like, I don't regret anything. I think you learn something with everything, but to like really understand me, I would say like, yeah, finders keepers, vitamins, and look at my body.
Love that. The bookends, how we started, where we are right now.
Exactly.
And yeah,
Exactly.
listening to those back to back, it's pretty incredible to see the growth, but also I think there's like a through line that is very powerful too.
Yeah,
It's you.
exactly. there's like a pulse that like I think I forgot was like always there.
Mm,
Um, that definitely was there in the beginning and that like I can hear again now.
it's beautiful. I, I'll let you get back to the rest of your day, but I wanted to ask, what can fans expect from you throughout the rest of the year? As much as you can tell us, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much music. Um, I was literally just like saying earlier that like I have so much music now and very much like this next like chapter for me is about people really getting to know me. Like I'm a mixed race woman. I have all these different places to draw inspiration from. Uh, I'd say it's still cohesive, but there's like parts of the journey that everybody needs to hear and see. But I would say that I'm being very like open, like following my intuition, but also like, you know, looking at what are my fans liking and like playing them stuff and being like, oh, okay, cool. Like, should we just drop this one? Like Vitamins was like not a planned thing at all. I'd
Mm.
just been releasing bits, and then there were some fans that were like, just put this out. So we ended up like making a video on my iPhone in my house, like me and my best friend, and then we just like put it out. And so I'm trying to be very free with it, but there's so much music and I'm definitely like in the mindset of just wanting to like release as much as possible as quick as possible.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a very good year then. I can't wait to hear.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for making the time. Also, shout out your dogs. I feel like this has been the first pet-friendly release interview, and it might just be mandatory from now on.
It has to be. Bring your pet to work day.
Love it. Thanks so much for making the time. We're gonna run back, look at my body with the shy girl, and we'll be back soon. Thanks.